Welcome to the world of Q&A. So is my sound working? I'm running late and not tested things very well at all, but it's going to be a great show. I can see Painful Discourse, Punty, Isla, Patrick, maybe some more people. I don't know, my eyes aren't working too well. Already here, already talking to me, and I don't know what we're talking about yet. So I should have said, normally before the show starts, I do explain what's going to be easy and what's going to be difficult to guess. I've got an OST behind me. No, I haven't. OST is an original soundtrack, and that is not behind me. Welcome, Space Denizen. I have a unique background behind me every week for you to try and identify, pick out the game and see if you can figure out what it is. I don't know how nerdy people are in this chat. I don't know if anyone's gonna be able to identify this from like some symbology that I'm not aware of. But if there's no giveaways like that, I think you're going to struggle this week. And the OST, I can't actually personally hear right now, but moderately difficult, but might be ascertained because it's somewhat relevant today. Still, before we get into showtime, we always have a word from our sponsors. Oh, Painful Discourse, that was so quick. I'm going to do a word from our sponsors. While I'm doing that, Painful Discourse, please explain how you have identified what is going on behind me so immediately. Sponsor, it's Game On Daily. Nice news aggregation social platform for you to discover all the latest gaming news and stuff from content creators all around the world. So go there, see what's good to read, follow the creators that you like, talk to your friends, and keep an eye on it, because like I keep saying, it is eventually going to get really, really good as a platform to use, especially as Twitter dwindles and goes more and more insane. Let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. So every week we start talking about what we're playing. Have I played much this week? Last week was really, really difficult because I came to Thursday and realized I hadn't played any games all week. Painful Discourse, you got it just because it looks like 40k. See, I don't actually, I know nothing about Warhammer lore. I've not played any Warhammer 40k games. I've not really played much in the way of the Orcs and Goblins Warhammer either. Don't know how the two universes connect, if they're the same, if this is just like Orcs and Goblins in space. I know nothing about it, but you clearly do, because you've figured out that this weird space sewer belongs in the Warhammer universe immediately. Thank you, Isla. You get the points for the top chat reminder for the week. Points are going everywhere, and I want to be able to hear my OST. Why can't I hear it? Technical difficulties everywhere, and we talk about some technical things a little bit later on, but we're going to start with games because I like to start with games. God, once I fix this so I can hear the music, I want to know if it's good or bad. It's not something I've ever played before. Me dropping hints everywhere. I really can't hear it though. It's refusing to monitor. Never mind. You can listen to the music. You can tell me if it's good, bad, or whatever, and you can tell me what game it is from. Next up. So this week I've actually played some games, still not many. I'm still a massive like fraud and a letdown, but I know that there are some games around that the community are engaging with that maybe you can talk to me about. I've been playing. I'm still working through Hi-Fi Rush. I find each level of Hi-Fi Rush is maybe slightly longer than I want it to be, so I don't usually get through an entire Hi-Fi Rush level in one sitting. I usually get through the majority of a level and then go, gee, I need to go to bed. But I am brilliant at the game. Like, I'm amazing at Hi-Fi Rush. If anybody from Saturday's show is around trying to catch me out on that one, I am great. Cities, as in you're playing Cities, Peter Morland. Cities, is that the name of the game? I know there's various city building sims with names that are very similar. I'm assuming that's like a pancake version. Painful Discourse, Vermintide had similar visual qualities and quirks. Well, if you're identifying the visual qualities from their other game, from the Vermintide games, then I salute you. It makes a lot of sense, but you've done well. You've looked at Pinball FX with Skyline. Pinball FX is weirdly good in virtual reality. Not the new one, so Pinball FX 3 isn't in VR, but they did the whole of Pinball FX 2, and it had a similar upgrade in the way that Tetris Connected. So Tetris Connect got a lot of attention because on a pancake screen it was just Tetris with some fireworks and shit. and they did a really good job of putting it into VR. So you had Tetris, but the fireworks and shit were like a light show all the way around you. I didn't really like Tetris Connect in VR or Pancake because it's Tetris and I don't really care for it. But Pinball FX was like a better version because you had the pinball table in front of you, obviously being like almost tangible because now you're playing in VR rather than looking at a screen. And it had all kinds of crap going on around you. So you'd be playing and there'd suddenly be like sharks swimming around your legs and things like that. And it became quite a spectacle. So that was neat. Weird reference, Isla, that I do understand. I do understand. What else has been going on? Yes, if you follow if Tetris is trending on Twitter and you follow it, you may not see blocks. You may see rather more rounded Tetris pieces. A new hand touches the beacon. What does that mean, Patrick? You're playing Skyrim until Atomic Heart comes out. I see. Good. Please tell me that I played the unoptimized disaster that is Wild Hearts. AJH, I have not, but when I said that there are games that the community are engaging with at the moment, I'm hoping you can tell me about. Wild Hearts is one of the ones that I was very much referring to, so I'm hoping that some people here have played Wild Hearts. Tony! Shit, what does I do with it? This is a momentary disaster, bear with me everyone. It's behind me. You might see some green screen. Oh, fuck. That went worse than I expected. Not sure if that was related. I went to pick up a drink and OBS disconnected. I managed to kill the internet by trying to get a hold of the rum that Tony got for me. So... this is a very nice bottle of rum that Tony sent, and I'm going to have some. I got a ginger beer ready to go, popped it on the desk, and forgot to add the essential ingredients. So when Tony told me to take a sip of drink then, I was like, oh, shit, I forgot to do it. Went to reach the drink, somehow sabotaged my entire internet connection. So I don't know what that's all about, but hopefully smooth sailing from here. So what have I been playing? Hi-Fi Rush. We've talked about that enough, so I've not got a lot to say about it, except that I am apparently about 11 hours into the game. So all the people that said it takes 6 hours to get through are either the genuinely good ones or liars, because it takes quite a while to get through. I'm hoping that I'm approaching the end of it because I have had enough and I want to move on. Where should you send the drink, Pizza? I do not need everybody sending me drinks, but I am very grateful. And this the rum that Tony sent is genuinely very nice rum. I'm enjoying it a lot. He sent me a bottle of gin last year that was also very good. So what you should be asking, Peter, is what do you need to do to get Tony to send his fine selection of alcoholic drinks over to you? That's the real question. It is very good. I've also been playing little bits and pieces. Suddenly I can hear the OSD. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we're going to have all kinds of technical difficulties today. For no apparent reason, the music just started playing in my ear. Right. I've been playing a little bit of VR. So, funnily enough, I think it was possibly last week, I was pointing out that I don't generally want or accept free things from developers in exchange for like reviews and coverage and stuff like that. It's not an area of shilling that I'm interested in. The very next day, a developer reached out and said, would you like this game to cover on your YouTube channel? And I was like, oh, I've just told everyone that I don't do that. I also feel bad, so I lied and I told them I already had it, and then I went and bought it, and then I played it on stream, and it didn't go very well. That was Wandering in Space VR. I am not a shill, and I don't need to tell you that I had a brilliant time with that game, because the truth is, I played that game that I paid for, and it didn't run very well. And it had very much early access vibes about it. So if you saw that, if you were witnessing me playing it, you only saw bits and pieces because once again there were some sort of issues with the connection going on. But yeah, as a game, if you're getting into VR, it's not available on PlayStation VR or anything like that anyway. So I'd say wait and see until they flesh out the content on that and add a little bit to the basic systems as well. I've also been playing. Welcome Darge and welcome AJH. I've already seen you there, but everyone that's come along as you always do, thank you very much. It is Massively appreciated. Why is my audio skipping? Tony, don't say that. Is my audio skipping? Is my voice... It wasn't Tony, it was Darge. Talk to me, people. Is the audio bad today? Space Denizen, you've been with Half-Life 2, VR and Moss 2. I love that you're here, like, feeding back into the conversation these VR games, because you're the only one that does have that, like, that angle to come back in with, really. AJ, you played Void Train on Next Fest. You think that could make a good VR game? So, Next Fest is like an indie event, but there's a lot of demos and trials of games available on Steam. I'm assuming that's where you got it, AJH. Kratos is here as well. Lots of people are hearing normal audio. That is a relief for me, because I have been dicking around with my audio today for reasons that I'll get into later on. So there was every chance that it could have been broken. So AJH, that's a recommendation from you for the Pancake players. Void Train, good game. I've been playing some racing games on the PC. I've got a racing seat and I've got a steering wheel, and they've been unplugged for the longest time. But I figured I should use it, especially so with Gran Turismo 7 coming like next week. I thought I should sit in some cars in some of my VR PC games and just get a feel for like how good they look, whether the materials are well represented, whether the car models are good, whether the backgrounds are smooth, whether the racing feels punchy. So I had a go at Project Cars 3, which isn't the best game overall, and Dirt Rally 2 as well. So I've been racing around in VR. Don't have a lot to say about either game because they're old news now, but by the time I get the PlayStation VR 2, I will be well positioned to tell you whether Gran Turismo 7 is genuinely good or bad. Kratos just said something. Maybe the alcohol is making me hear buzzing. No, I can't hear buzzing. It was Darge that could hear crackling and things going wrong. Fortunately, I can't hear myself. I don't use any sort of audio monitoring while I'm live because I hate the sound of my own voice, and I couldn't possibly cope with that. Not like all of you who are here listening for some reason. That's wild. But that's what I've been playing. So who's been playing that Wild Hearts? Some of you must have been. Darge is shouting out Shadow Warrior 3. I think that's out... I can't remember what day that comes out. It's over the next week though. So I don't think you've been playing it much yet, but it is coming to Game Pass. We do have conversation around... rotate my cable joints. We do have conversation around the subscription services coming a bit later because they're both punching fairly hard at the moment, which is nice. Painful Discourse, you played a bit more high on life, but it's okay, but it doesn't excel in anything, so you don't know. Gameplay wise, I wouldn't say it excels in anything, but obviously if you enjoy the delivery of humor, then you'd have to say it excels in that regard. If it's not your style of comedy, then that would just be annoying, I would have thought. You saw some gameplay. Kratos, what did you see gameplay of? I would like to know. Darge, you're playing... Oh, Shadow Warrior's out now, is it? And you're playing it right now. That's exciting, Darge. Today. So they're the same thing. Today, this week, I was exactly right. Kratos, you started playing Breath of the Wild and you put about 3 hours into it. Tell me about... Oh, you're confusing me. Are you playing Breath of the Wild or are you playing Wild Heart and comparing it to Breath of the Wild? I need to know exactly how both of those games are for you. Because if you're only just playing Breath of the Wild today, then your opinion is particularly relevant to me because you are also not a Nintendo super fan, so you'll be playing the game with honest eyes. I would like to hear what you'll find, how you find Breath of the Wild after 3 hours from that position. And Wild Heart, I want everybody to tell me, is Wild Heart good? Is it bad? Is it worth trying? I've heard a lot about some performance issues. It's supposed to perform terribly on the PC, but also pretty ropey on the consoles as well. I sounded very belittling. Darge, no, this is an issue with your self-esteem. I want you to try and be confident. Tell the world, tell yourself and tell the world that you're not small. You are worthwhile, you are here, you are relevant, and everybody should take heed. And then you won't feel like I'm belittling you, because you'll know your opinion matters. Why does your back hurt so much? Isla's back hurts because She slid down a slide wrong like a dickhead, as per my instructions. It was very entertaining. The fundamentals of the game are great, but the performance is awful. So this is Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to bring up a trailer because I haven't shown any trailers yet, and that's a nice thing to do. But Wild Hearts is a fairly... There's a film called Wild Hearts. I don't want that. A fairly direct rip on Monster Hunter as a series. But from what I've seen, maybe better. Oh god, I've searched in Bing. What a disaster. And it's brought me IGN's version of the trailer, but we'll do it anyway. So Monster Hunter is a series that I haven't got much experience with. I played a little Monster Hunter World. Didn't particularly get along with it. And then a week or two back, I played the newish one. I played Monster Hunter Rise with Darge on stream. I also didn't massively get along with it. But Wild Hearts looks like it does address some of the issues that I had in terms of the combat looks a little bit more dynamic, a little bit faster paced, a little bit more flashy. And the abilities of the characters just look a little bit better defined than they were in Monster Hunter. And I'm not saying this is a dig at Monster Hunter. If you like that game, if you are one of the people that can appreciate what it does in a way that I haven't figured out yet, then fair play. But to me, Wild Hearts looks more interesting. I'm not sure if that's enough to say that it looks like a good game though. I've heard very mixed things from the people playing it. Some people are saying it's great, but I'm hearing a lot of issues with it, looking and performing quite badly as you go. I think Jez Corden's playing it a lot and enjoying it, and some other people as well. Darge says it was shit. He's talking about Monster Hunter Rise. Tony likes the Monster Hunter games though, I think. Isla does her own stunts like Jackie Chan. Isla, it was exactly how Jackie Chan would roll sideways down a slide. Very well done. Punty, no. That's all you're getting for that one. The mechanical trap thing looks funny. Yeah, I don't know where the building fits into Wild Hearts. I'm not sure if if that's shared across all the classes, if they all have the same building skills, if that's like a fundamental part of the game, or if the different classes and character types can build up differently. You mean Jez could play at 10 frames per second and be happy? Yeah. Jez does have fairly unique taste in games. He got a World of Warcraft tattoo on his arm, I think, which I would consider a mistake myself, but each to their own. They're not my arms. Kratos, with Breath of the Wild, you put 3 hours into your last time you played, which has been a while since you played it. It's a great adventure, like most from the franchise, and you wouldn't call yourself a Zelda Link fanboy or a hardcore gamer, but you would recommend Breath of the Wild then. Like, you think that if I were to pick up Breath of the Wild, maybe I would like it, because I don't fully understand the appeal of it at the moment, but that is probably a me problem. I don't know what, like, everyone says that it's a brilliant game and you can do whatever you want, but there's not much of a story. And I don't know what that actually entails, like how much freedom you've actually got and how fun it is. Whether it is engaging in any real way. Or whether it's just like the Nintendo thing where everyone dramatically overestimates and overrates their games for some reason. You think I would like it but hate it at the start. Fair enough. I'm not sure what I would think of it really. Tony, I'm sure you would know all about it. I'm glad. But anyway, what else is there? What else have we been playing? What else have you been playing? Did anybody try that Wanted Dead? Because Wanted Dead came out during the week as well. Their social media presence has been a little bit sassy, snapping back at people that have given it bad reviews, but it has mostly had pretty bad reviews. Can't remember how much it costs, but it's not a full 70 quid jobbing. Wanted Dead game trailer. It sells itself on being a Gen 6 style game on current technology, so they're going for an old school style of game. Why is it just bringing up IGN everywhere? Fine, we'll do another IGN trailer. Oh look, they've done the dickhead thing. I'm going to show it to show how much I object. It's a trailer that IGN had no part in making, but for some reason Bruh, we're IGN. Bruh. Fuck you, dickheads. That's what I have to say about that. I hate the practice of taking official trailers and uploading them with a watermark over the top. So that's that. I can quite happily say that on record. Boozy the Clown, you've been washing Lara Cross Manky Who, so Power Wash Simulator. I'm actually tempted. I've never been tempted by Power Wash Simulator before. I've never thought, like, this is the game for me, I'm going to give it a go. But they have just started talking about their free update to let you clean Midgar, so Final Fantasy VII's Midgar in Power Wash Simulator, and I'm kind of tempted to give it a download just to see what it looks like. Maybe record a background like a dirty Midgar and stick it in the background on this show so you all think I've got Final Fantasy VII. Wouldn't that be a good trick? I am a robot. What are you talking about? Dart, you're going back to Shadow Warrior. You'll be chatting though and enjoy. Right. I see what you're talking about. Dodge, please do let us know how Shadow Warrior 3 is. I will. It's on Game Pass, so I'm going to download it. I'm going to try it. I would like to know for myself. I played Shadow Warrior 1 a fair amount. That was entertaining enough, but I never really got into 2, and I haven't started 3. So that is on my list of things to do, and I kind of figured it would come to Game Pass at some point, so I've been waiting quietly for that day to come. Now he's there and I'll play it. You're going to make a video. Everyone immediately click like Dodge's handle or whatever on YouTube, subscribe to his channel and hound him every time he's here and has not released a Shadow Warrior 3 video until it is there ready for us all to watch and enjoy. And then subscribe to Patrick's channel and hound him to also get a copy of Dodge's video, apparently. Shadow Warrior 3 is decent. You only put like an hour into it. Fair. They're a strange tier of game in general. Like, they know what they are and they provide a bit of fun, so I'm looking forward to giving it a go. But so Shadow Warrior 3 kind of leads into vague half topic that we've got for today, and before going into it, shower. Before going into it, I have to reiterate the format of the show. I think everyone here knows how this show works, and you understand the conversational nature of it and things like that. But if it's not already there, Isla, please, if you're available, could you put up the Q&A box thing? So we have this conversation, we talk back and forth, you stick things in chat, and I miss half of them, but the ones that I catch, we talk about and have nice conversations about all the games that we've been playing, and you share your thoughts and things like that. But if you have something critical that cannot be missed, that must be addressed, then please stick it in the Q&A box when it appears. So YouTube will give you a nicely presented little drop your question in this box field. If you drop anything in there at the end of the show, we do go over those and catch every single one of them and talk about them. So you can spark a whole topic of conversation, or you can ask a direct question, or you can just tell me my nose looks crooked. Whatever you want is all fine and good. That is what that box is for. Yeah, so no way is this gameplay. Do you know, I wasn't even watching really. I'm pretty sure it was a mix of cutscenes and gameplay. But I don't know. I've seen occasional captures of the game running at about 4 frames per second. None of it looked particularly impressive, so don't really know what the deal with Wanted Dead is. Can't say it's very high on my list of things to buy. I like the fact that they're shooting for an old school vibe. I'd be enticed, but I've only heard kind of bad things about it, so we'll see. Maybe when it gets really cheap or goes on a subscription service, I'll give it a go. But I've got a big pile of games to get through at the moment, a big pile of VR to try and play and capture, and very little time, so it doesn't quite make the cut for having any of it. AJH, you went and picked up a new TV for your dad yesterday. He's now got a better TV than you. You haven't even upgraded your TV to 4K yet, and he's now rocking an 8K TV. Well, it's nice of you to go and get that, right? Does your dad play games? What's he going to use this 8K screen for? Does he play games, or is he just going to stream Netflix and do crimes to the pixel density? So what was the topic I was going into? Subscription services. So both companies that have the good subscription services, so Microsoft and Sony, have put out fairly strong little selections of games lately. On Microsoft's side, they're not strictly this month, but you've got Shadow Warrior 3, you've got Atomic Heart coming in a few days, we've got Wolong Fallen Dynasty next month, Dynasty if you prefer, but I'm going with Dynasty, I prefer that. And something else, I'm sure there was another big one rounding off their list of games, as well as obviously their first party ones coming later in the year, Redfall and Starfield and all that likes that we know about. But quite a strong selection of games, as we've become mostly accustomed to with Xbox Game Pass over the last few years. The surprise is that it's not the first month that Sony have put out a strong offering, but this month PlayStation Plus has a good selection of games, and I can't remember them all off the top of my head, so I'm going to find it. But it includes a lot of games that overlap with Game Pass, so games that are either already on Game Pass or have been on the service in the past, but also Horizon Forbidden West and things along those lines. So you've got Horizon Forbidden West, you've got Scarlet Nexus, which obviously has previously been on Game Pass, Outriders, which I think is still on Game Pass, The Quarry, which is I think the first subscription that one's dropped onto. Some older games like Legend of Dragoon, which is one of the oldest games on my backlog of games. It's a PlayStation 1 game that I'm actually going to go and play on that subscription service, so I'm quite happy to see Legend of Dragoon is dropping onto PlayStation Plus. But what I want to know first of all from all of you though is which subscriptions do you subscribe to? Do you have Xbox Game Pass? What tier of PlayStation Plus do you have? Is there anyone that has either an Xbox or a PlayStation and doesn't have the respective subscription service? Those are my first questions for you. And if you've got both, which ones do you actually use? It's nice to look at Bears and Birds in 8K. Yeah, so Peter, I don't know of any content that actually goes out in 8K at the moment. Hopefully the TVs themselves have some like demo content or something like that. For me, there's not really much good 4K content yet, so 8K is not a relevant metric when I go shopping. No, guys, it's not safe. Game Pass shits on PlayStation Plus. Shut the fuck up. That's like a strong opinion, but that is what I'm looking for. Want opinions coming in there. And Gaz, so you obviously think that long term Game Pass is shitting on PlayStation Plus. What about this month? What about this month where PlayStation Plus has... I was halfway through finding it and then I got distracted. PlayStation blog. John. Who invited Gaz? Gaz is always invited, but he rarely cares to turn up, which is like... in theory, I'm going to see Gaz tomorrow. Don't forget that, Gaz. 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. It might actually happen this time. So here is the PlayStation Plus lineup for February. So just this month, they've got Horizon Forbidden West, which is just under a year old and kind of telling to what Sony's strategy is for their first party games. Because Horizon Forbidden West is one of their like marquee big titles. Not as big as God of War and Spider-Man, but it's a big title. And hopefully sets a precedent that Sony's first party games can come out within about a year, which I'm relying on for The Last of Us Part 1, by the way. You've got The Quarry on PlayStation 5, you've got Resident Evil 7 on 4, you've got Outriders, which obviously has been on Xbox Game Pass since day one, but is now here on PlayStation as well. Scarlet Nexus, Borderlands 3, I think this might be the first subscription appearance for Borderlands 3, which is not a trivial entry. Like, Gearbox aren't totally against subscription services in general, but Tekken 7, yeah, shit game. Ace Combat 7, yeah, nobody cares about the PlayStation 4. But it's a fair old list of games that we're getting through here. Forgotten City has been on Game Pass already. And then they've added a nice little smattering of old games as well, with The Legend of Dragoon being the one that's catching my attention because genuinely I want to play it. Outriders and Scarlet Nexus were on Game Pass before, yes they were. So was Forgotten City, so was possibly some others. I don't know. Resident Evil 7's been on Game Pass as well. There's a massive overlap in the catalogues in general, but PlayStation have obviously been adding to the service only a lot more recently than Xbox Game Pass. One's been running for 6 years and one's been running for like 1. So things like the Yakuza series, there's overlap there as well. There are a lot of games that appear on both subscription services, and typically publishers are either willing to talk to Xbox and PlayStation, or they're not. The problem going forwards is Xbox have always been very, very open to letting things fly. So if you have a game like I don't know, like Resident Evil 7, when that went onto Xbox Game Pass, there's no way that Microsoft said, Capcom, we're going to give you like this bag of money, but you're not allowed to put that game onto PlayStation Plus. Whereas going the other way round, when The Quarry goes onto PlayStation Plus, I would bet my right testicle, because I already bet the left one on something else, I'll bet my right testicle that the contract for The Quarry stipulates don't put that on Game Pass as well, because we know that that's how Sony do business. So the overlap is going to become less pronounced over time if Sony start getting in there first and writing Sony contracts around these things. That's my, and I've not seen a contract, but that's my gut feeling, because we know that that's how Sony operate. Maybe we'll see if The Quarry comes to Xbox Game Pass in the near future, or if that kind of deal is too expensive. Outriders is another one. I think if that had come to PlayStation Plus first, it's very unlikely it will be landing on Game Pass. So it might spark a whole new little battle round between the two companies to keep things exclusive on their own subscription services, which isn't necessarily good for us in the long run, but probably is good for Gaz because he enjoys console antagonistic practices. Ark, I'm going to sleep on Ark. I'm going to absolutely sleep on Ark forever, because if you play Ark, then you are basically sacrificing half your lifetime, and I can't be doing that. I suspect that will also be true of Ark 2, so no, not going to be doing Ark. So Liza P is another good example. Stalker 2 is not so close, but I don't know. PlayStation's like looking like they mean to give a more compelling offering than they have done in previous months, and that's only a good thing, right? If they can carry on delivering games that people might actually want to play, even if they don't do day and date on their first party, I'll be quite content to keep subscribing. But I'm a twat. I subscribe to everything. I've subscribed to Ubisoft for since they launched that service, and I don't think I've played anything on it yet. So don't be like me. Me is twat. It has Vin Diesel. Yes, Ark 2 has Vin Diesel. That is definitely not compelling me to play it either. Unless he does all the picking berries for me and I can just get on with the good bits of the game. Ark player retention was top tier, and it's true, you've warned your girlfriend, but maybe you can get her to join the cult. Maybe you can. It's the kind of game that you could play as a couple, and then like your relationship has to work because you've joined the same clan and you can't afford to split your Ark berries and foraged wood. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. It's going to be a messy divorce where you're like, who gets to keep the big robot dinosaur or whatever? You get a miniature Vin Diesel, and he does all the crafting and harvesting for you. Patrick, that sounds like a pre-order bonus. I'm not a big fan of pre-order bonuses. Tony, you sleep on rocks. Of course you do. That makes all of the sense in the world. What else? So I think consensus from people here then is just that Game Pass is best, because Gaz is the only one that actually fed back on that, I think. Unless I missed something. Next month they're going to get Gran Turismo 7 and Ghostwire Tokyo in PlayStation Plus. It's a good shout on Ghostwire Tokyo, Patrick, because I think you've already got a trial of Ghostwire Tokyo on PlayStation already, on PlayStation Plus. But yes, as soon as it goes to Microsoft, as soon as it's launched on Game Pass, we know that the contract for Ghostwire Tokyo will be the same as it is for Deathloop, which means that Sony get like first dibs at putting it on a subscription service. So yes, Ghostwire Tokyo will appear on both services at about the same time. But games from Bethesda are a weird legacy-like exception to the rule, rather than a thing to expect going forwards. Boozy the Clown Vampire Survivors has got its claws into you. Do not play it if you have shit to do. See, I found when I was playing Vampire Survivors, it was quite convenient to play when you had shit to do, because you could just jump into it for like 20 minutes. Is it 20 or 30? I can't remember how long a loop of Vampire Survivors lasts, but you could just jump into it and do one, and then get back to whatever productive thing you're supposed to be doing. This month it's called for PlayStation Plus, but you'll need to see more consistency before subscribing to it again. So Patrick is on the list of has a PlayStation but doesn't subscribe to the service. Do you subscribe to the base tier though, Patrick? Like the online play-in base like 3 or 4 whatever monthly games. Painful Discourse, you're interested in Ghostwire? Me too. I'm planning to play Ghostwire Tokyo in the near future, and that could be any time over the next 20 years. There's so little time to play games, so little time to get through them all. But Ghostwire Tokyo is definitely on my list, as is everything that Tango do, really. Fun Studio. Kratos, all you know with subscriptions is that you pay monthly when there's something that you want to watch or play. If it's worth it for another month, you'll stay on. If not, you delete it and come back and rinse and repeat. So what subscriptions have you got active at the moment? And have you seen anything this month that is inspiring you to subscribe again? Oh. I drank the rum and my internet connection didn't die. Thank you, Tony. So, Tony, you sold your PlayStation 5. Sony shafted you a bit, but that's a story for another day. Oh, that's an exciting story. I look forward to it. So I have, like I say, I'm terrible with subscriptions. I subscribed to Stadia until Google cancelled it. I got a subscription to Viveport, which is like a virtual reality gaming platform from HTC, and it's got fuck all on it. It's like a really dead platform. But pretty sure I still subscribe to that. I actually cancelled a subscription the other day. I had an active subscription to a VPN that I haven't used for 2 years. And I saw it. I saw that money come out and was like, whoa, I remember them. I actually remembered to cancel one. And that's good going for me. I think I deserve some kind of round of applause. But Sony shafts everybody. Yeah, I mean, none of these companies are nice. None of them are. But Sony in particular do have a strong history of shafting, yes. And we all forgive them because their strong future of supporting virtual reality makes it all worthwhile. Install your rootkits on my CDs and do your shitty everything that Sony have done. Charge loads for your games. It's fine. You're giving me virtual reality. Thank you, Patrick. Have I played Vertigo Remastered? It's a great game on Viveport. I have not played Vertigo Remastered or heard of it, actually. I'll be more familiar when I see it because I've heard of everything, I'm sure. Them's a good round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will not make a stop. I appreciate all applause. It's what I do this for. It's been 35 episodes, but I finally had a round of applause. We can finish Q&A, sir, after today. Don't share the alcohol except if it's my wife or kids. You know, I cannot get my kids back on alcohol, which sounds terrible when I say back on alcohol, but there is a story there. One of them made the terrible mistake of giving a red wine as a first alcoholic drink to my oldest child a while ago. And his reaction to it was pretty strong and he spilled it all over the table. Neither child has been willing to try alcohol since. So, good parenting, me. They're going to be the best clean living kids going. Maybe. Anyway. Your son hated it too. How old, Patrick, is your son now, or how old was your son when you force-fed them alcohol? Sony put rootkits on PCs. Yes, Peter Morland, that was the reference when I said that they can stick their rootkits on my CDs. Yes, they hid rootkits. I think it was on music CDs, wasn't it? If you put a Sony music CD into your PC, it would install a little rootkit to spy on everything on your PC. And they got caught and in a lot of trouble for it, and rightly so. Hey Jay, you find it ironic that Sony now own Bungie but offer a 2-year-old DLC in PlayStation Plus instead of last year's DLC? Is the one... Oh, I don't follow Destiny. I assumed that Lightfall was the current one. Is Lightfall not the new DLC? They offer a 2-year-old DLC in PlayStation Plus instead of last year's. And in a little under 2 weeks, the new DLC comes out. What's the one that's on PlayStation Plus then? They fooled me. I just assumed it was the new one. What's the monthly one? I'm gonna look. Am I gonna look? Can I be asked? Can I reach my PlayStation controller? Yeah, I can. Pressing things with toes. I know I'm not allowed to talk about feet on the stream. I got reprimanded for it. but I want to see my PlayStation. Oh, fuck off. I'm doing a terrible job of pressing the buttons that I want. This should be PlayStation mode. Let's see what comes up. Lightfall is the new one coming out. That's the wrong thing. That's my Xbox. This will be the PlayStation. In theory. There we go. Here's a PlayStation. Let's have a look at the PlayStation Plus options. So we've got... Notably, the Ubisoft Plus tag is exactly the same as the one has been data mined for Xbox recently. People wondering what that could mean. It is probably the same collection of games between the two of them. Classics catalog, game trials. Where's the normal monthly games? How it works. Oh, Beyond Light. I see. So that's across the old Destiny one. Because I don't follow Destiny very closely, and because they've both got light in the name there, I thought those were the same thing. But now I know. I have learned something today. What an exciting stream. Thank you, everybody, for helping me understand a little more about Destiny and PlayStation Plus. So, next topic. I thought, so somebody's already mentioned, I can't remember who mentioned, but somebody mentioned that the review embargoes for PlayStation VR 2 came down today. So there are lots of shill reviews, lots of genuine, honest, worth reading and watching reviews for PlayStation VR 2 across the internet. And I decided I'm not going to talk about that really, because yes, I'm a massive VR nerd, and there's lots that I want to talk about around the headset, but next week, hopefully I'll have my hands on the headset before Thursday, and there will be plenty to say about that thing. So not so much today, but what I did have a look at is the content creation side of the PlayStation VR 2, and it got me looking at the content creation side of both the Xbox and the PlayStation. And when I say content creation, I'm talking about everything from the DVR functionality to the inbuilt streaming and photo modes in games and things like that. So what I did was, because the PlayStation supports direct streaming while you're using PlayStation VR, because somebody said in chat last week, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Space Denizen, it might have been someone else, but somebody mentioned how Twitch streaming and Twitch chat used to work within the PlayStation VR headset in the first generation. Made me realize that actually there's an avenue here that I can exploit to be able to do live content from the PlayStation VR 2 if it works in the same way. So I started looking into it, setting up my PlayStation to be able to stream directly to... Turns out it can do Twitch and YouTube, but I was just looking at the capabilities of the thing, and then I thought, you know what? Because I've got two connections in my house. I've got my nice stable connection for shows and things, and I've got the house-wide connection that the family use. I thought, because I've got that and my consoles are on the family one, maybe I will stream directly to Twitch from the consoles. So I set up the Xbox as well, which gave me a good opportunity to compare and contrast the two consoles and what they do well and what they do badly. And it's very, very evident that Sony have a big leg up over Microsoft in terms of understanding the value of viral marketing. So streaming from the PlayStation is there's a reasonable amount of flexibility in what you do there and how you put it together, and the quality that you can put together and put out and shove onto Twitch, which is pretty much Twitch is not a brilliant platform for quality anyway, but the PlayStation will let you pretty much leverage the best of it. And the Xbox streaming is like potato quality bad. KY, welcome, can't stay, but thank you for stopping in and caressing the like button on your way through. Much appreciated, even for that brief moment. And yeah, have a good one yourself. Yeah, so streaming between them. So the PlayStation will let you stream to Twitch at 60 frames per second using as much bandwidth as Twitch will allow. And it also lets you stream to YouTube. And they've clearly put some thought into the way that these tools work, how broadcasting works on that console. And on the Xbox side of things, you can also stream to Twitch, but it streams at 30 frames per second, so it looks terrible. And the options are really, really basic. And yes, Tony, it's nerd stuff, right? But the point that I'm getting is, I know most people aren't interested in streaming and things like that, and this side of content creation doesn't mean a lot to people, but it carries over to the DVR, and everybody knows that Xbox has had DVR issues for a long time. So the ability to record your gameplay and share it around, you can do it on the Xbox, but it doesn't play nicely with HDR, and I don't personally use it at all. So you're probably more familiar with me. You're probably more familiar with these issues than I am, but it's quite a widespread problem that that Xbox DVR isn't very good, and that Sony do it better. And it's not just the way that it records and lets you go between HDR and SDR and all the rest of it, and lets you share it, but the Sony Upload Studio is a lot better as well in terms of the on-console editing tools and the way that you can share it across your phone and other platforms. It's all a lot better integrated on PlayStation than it is on Xbox, which shouldn't be the way, because Microsoft is a software company, so the Xbox should be better at doing these things, really, but kind of isn't. And Microsoft may be taking steps to fix it, but it's not there yet. And then it carries through to the games themselves, because RWK, welcome. Games themselves, I think it's fairly clear that every single Sony cinematic game has a strong emphasis on the photo mode, and Microsoft doesn't, right? There are Microsoft games that have a photo mode, but it's definitely not prioritized in the same way as it is by Sony. And all of this is like, I don't take photos, I'm not a photographer myself. I know some people appreciate the photo mode for the sake of enjoying like image composition and actually taking nice screenshots and things, but the primary reason that Sony puts so much emphasis on it isn't for the people that like photography, it's for the people that put those things on social media. The primary reason that Sony's DVR is good is because people will put those things on social media. The primary reason that streaming works better, like that Sony have put effort into making streaming work, is that people will stream. And this is all like really clear and obvious ways to spark viral marketing and word of mouth for their games. So obviously a big part of that is making good games in the first place, but giving people the tools to share these naturally, people are using these and having fun, but they're doing marketing for Sony. So that's the PlayStation VR 2 has great capture. Exactly. As a FDU, welcome, by the way. That's what led me down this path of looking at the capability of the consoles. Is I was looking for the sake of the PlayStation VR 2, because virtual reality content creation on like Quest and on PC, there are tools there, and it's quite advanced and quite difficult to get into. You need to do some research to get this working and doing it well. Whereas on the PlayStation, it's a priority, and they've made sure that if you've got a PlayStation VR 2, you can stick the headset on, you can navigate the menu, and you can stream, and you can capture, and you can share. Sauron Grant, you've never used the photo mode deliberately ever. I hadn't until I started recording like backgrounds and things. Ghost of Tsushima in particular has a really nice photo mode where you can leave everything animated. So it comes in very handy for certain videos that I make and things like that. I'm not a photographer, I don't use photo mode, I'm not a social media person, so I don't do Sony's viral marketing for them. But I see enough of it, like I can see that it works, I can see why they do it, and I can't understand why Microsoft haven't really knuckled down and fixed it. So Alan, you're saying that it should come standard on consoles. It's not an important feature to me personally, especially I've got all sorts of fancy equipment to do my captures and things, but just as like I don't know, like a lack of understanding. Your ears broke. Well, hello anyway, I hope your ears recover. As a lack of understanding of how the internet works and how their own audience works, it baffles me that Microsoft have not fixed DVR and have not got better streaming services on their console and have not got photo modes in all of their games. This isn't much of a conversation, this is just me like jabbering. So if you have like any thoughts on that, I can see various so as you're saying that the Share Factory Studio is awesome. I've not used it myself. I know you've got quite a bit of functionality in there though. Do we have anyone that tries to use these features and struggles with them, or enjoys them, or has bought a game because you've seen someone's pictures on social media and things like that? You play Xbox Series X games, but you've never shared clips on Twitter only because it's too hard. Exactly. Like for me, as a console user, PC player, PlayStation user, all the rest of it, I don't care for these features. Like I don't like to share these things anyway. I do obviously make content and have a YouTube channel, but I don't care to bombard like Twitter with clips of my gameplay. But I can very clearly see how it would benefit Sony if I did, and I don't really get how Microsoft are not seeing this and going, oh shit, like masses of free marketing that we're just passing up because for some reason we haven't fixed our DVR yet and all the rest of it. Anyway, this was my novel way of looking at what was going on with PlayStation VR 2, taking a topic from it, but not really talking about the hardware itself. If anybody wants to ask any specific questions about the hardware or mention anything in particular about it, then you are very welcome to. If you've been looking at all the many reviews around, then by all means talk about them. For me, reviews from people that got given it for free are worth less than Sony's own marketing, so I don't really care what those people have got to say about it. Boozy the Clown, you stream Flight Sim and you have one viewer, no interaction. Pretty cool. That's nice. Like, streaming's not an easy thing to get an audience for, so I totally appreciate that too. Punty, the big thing for you is you hope Xbox start to bring the mods to their games on the new consoles. Mods, so Punty, I don't know anything about it except that it is, like, I agree. So the obvious candidate for mods is obviously Starfield. Like, Bethesda have always very much embraced the modding community, and Skyrim and Fallout had a mod scene on consoles, but it was a fair way short of what you could achieve in the PC space. So I'm very curious to see now that Bethesda and ZeniMax and Todd all work for Microsoft and have that proper inside track on what goes on in the console space. I'm optimistic that Starfield will support mods more so than any game before it. Now, if they don't, it'll be disappointing. Because yes, like, mods are the reason that I still play Skyrim. Obviously, I'm playing it in VR, but if Skyrim VR did not have the mod compatibility that it has, it wouldn't be half the game that it is. I would not be playing it in the way that I do. Because there are mods there that are essential to making the game good. And that's classic Bethesda. Like, every Bethesda game really does rely on its mod scene. Oh no, the music's doing weird things I don't like. Has anyone identified the OST yet? Someone will. I'll start dropping hints soon to make it too easy again, like I always do. I get carried away with hints and make it too easy. I'm gonna restrain myself. But I have already kind of given some hints. Oh no, I've done it. That's probably too much of a hint. Anyway. Patrick, I just reminded you of an actual question. Are you going to stick it in the Q&A box or are you going to ask it right here and now? Whoa, the choice is yours. What else did I have as a topic? I don't think I had many others. That's good. We might finally achieve the shorter duration show that I've always dreamed of. Not always dreamed of, but... I'm sure there were some more things. Nights. As in Nights into Dreams? No, this is not Nights into Dreams. Arabian Nights. See, I get what you're saying now from the tune, but no. No, that's good rum, Tony. It was a stab in the dark. I might... do I reveal what the OST is at the end of the show? No, if you don't get it, you don't get it. And you'll just have to let that haunt you for a while. Painful Discourse, you knew you were on track. That was early. Oh, you knew one track that was early on, but you can't remember where it's from. Restraining myself. Don't give the big hints. I'm going to have a quick flick at... Not even going to tell you what I'm having a quick flick at. You just have to trust me. Just have to trust me that it's worthwhile. So. Oh, this is crap. The missing game. So when I was talking about Xbox Game Pass earlier, and I was like, they've got Shadow Warrior and they've got Wolong and whatever else is coming up. I said there's one big like flagship, or not flagship, but like a bigger title coming to the service, and I've forgotten what it is. I've just had a little look. It wasn't my intention to find this, but I just had a little look at the Xbox channel, and it's jogged my memory. The missing game was MLB The Show 23. So it's no wonder I forgot about it, because who gives a shit about baseball? Are any of you baseball people? Painful Discourse, the track is not from Wipeout. Darge Knight, I'm glad Shadow Warrior is great. Darge, did you play 1 and 2 at all, or are you like a new fan exposed to the series by Xbox Game Pass? Peter Morland, not a baseball fan. Wait. Also couldn't care less. Patrick, you like baseball, alright? Darge, we're finding out who cares about MLB The Show 23. It's obviously a big title in terms of like commercial value. Makes a bunch of money through microtransactions, so it's not that big a win to me to have that on Game Pass, but makes a bunch of money, also sells a load of copies. It's a big franchise in some parts of the world. Presumably, maybe outside of America slightly a little bit. Japan likes baseball. I don't know. Some people love it. Yeah, I don't understand. So I played a baseball game on the Super Nintendo when I was like not even 6 foot tall. And there wasn't a lot to it. I don't really know, like, mechanically, I don't know how a baseball game works now. Is it just a timing game? Do you just have to press hit at the right time? Do you have to aim? Is pitching fun? None of these seem like mechanically even remotely interesting. To stick a controller in my hand and hit the ball. I don't know, just press a button to run. As you played baseball in Japan, it was fun and pretty chill, really. Well, playing games is very different to playing games, you know, and that makes total sense because we're on the same page. Like, doing a sport is different. It's very different to watching a sport and very different to picking up a controller and simulating a sport. I always find the wording funny when people talk about, like, football sims because they don't even try to simulate playing the sport. Like, driving sims make sense because you're pretending to drive a car. But when you're playing a football game, you're not pretending to play football. And baseball is the same. You're not pretending to play baseball unless you're like Xbox Connect or Wii and swinging it around. If you're just pressing buttons, that's not a sim. That's a mechanically dire, horrible game. But people like it. So if anyone enjoys this game and can explain to me where the fun lies, then I would appreciate it. So Patrick, I was talking more about FIFA, so football, soccer. Not even 6 foot tall when I played on the Super Nintendo. What is my height? I am not a giant. I am probably 6'3", 6'4". I'm not small. Under the table, into a bottle, not on the floor. Wait a minute, Punty. I'm not sure if I should read comments without understanding them. What are you talking about? No, I'm not too tall. Oh, right. Punty's asking, what do I do when I have to take a wee during the podcast? I just disappear for a bit normally. If it's on Go Live and I can't get anywhere, then I'll just like put up a trailer or something and disappear for a while. If it's on this show where I'm the only one here, that's not an issue that I've had to face yet. But I think you'd probably all be well aware if I was like having a sneaky piss in a bottle while doing the show. So I'm not going to do that. Anyway, baseball. So why not? I haven't got many topics today. Let's talk about sports games. So FIFA is obviously the sport that I'm more familiar with. I played a fair amount of football. I understand that as a game. I've watched a fair amount of football. Don't really watch it anymore. Don't find it very interesting. But FIFA as a game has a massive audience that play it year in, year out. When you're playing FIFA, you control like one person at a time and AI controls. If you've ever played real football, you know that the acts of an individual are actually not all that important. So football, when you're playing a game and you're controlling individuals one at a time, you control the whole team eventually if you're passing the ball around, but you're controlling one person at a time. The full workload that makes you good or bad is the other 10 players around you. So it's a very weird scenario to play a game like FIFA and enjoy it. And then you've got this controller in your hand. It is not simulating football. There is nothing about pushing an analog stick and pressing X or a shoulder button or whatever else to do tricks that is remotely similar to playing football. So I don't understand the appeal of FIFA at all. See, Darge, is Rocket League a sport? Rocket League is far closer to being a sport than FIFA is. FIFA looks more like sport that you'll see on the telly, but Rocket League is far more real. Tony, Epic Games tried to automatically download Fortnite when you downloaded the Epic Store. That's not true. Just eat your Fortnite and enjoy it. Tony, why did you download the Epic Store if not for Fortnite? Are you claiming their weekly free games? Or do you have something in particular on the Epic Store that you're after playing? Patrick, sports games need to release every 3 years. Just sell the roster updates and stuff as like $20 DLC. Yeah, the annual release of sports games is a long-running travesty for the same game every year. But as long as they've got that audience buying it, why would they package it up any differently? Cars is probably the common denominator. Not in terms of... If you're referring to when I was talking earlier about cars being an actual sim, then no. The reason that I say that Rocket League is like a sport isn't because like you're better mimicking the action. Like I'd never play Rocket League with a steering wheel for one thing. It's more so that Rocket League is just... I describe Rocket League as being like Quake 3 Arena, despite being not a very similar game at all, because it's just got a very high skill ceiling. It's very like visceral and raw in the way that it plays. There's no assist or help at all. You exist within the physics of that world, and you do better than your opponent or you don't. I don't know. It's hard to kind of describe why I say that about Rocket League, why I say that is more of a sport than FIFA, but hopefully you're vaguely understanding what I'm saying. If you've played it, then I think you'll probably understand. But more people involved in driving or wanting to drive, yeah. Dishonored background, no, Darts, the background is not Dishonored. The background has already been picked up on, so I can tell you it is Warhammer 40k Dark Tide, which is the Left 4 Dead like, Vermintide like Warhammer game it was supposed to come out on Xbox and PC towards the tail end of last year. It came out on PC, but they delayed the Xbox version. You have it. I'm going to assume that you haven't played it because this is like 12 seconds into the game, this sewer. And I also haven't played it, apart from getting 12 seconds in today. I played it so little that I didn't even mention it as a game that I've played this week. There are 2 corpses in the river. I killed them because I'm well good at the game. Expose you some more. Age of Vampires. Lua Nitsua, welcome. PlayStation VR 2 update. Rumors of a Yakuza game in discussion. I'm so sincerely hoping that PlayStation VR 2 picks up Japanese support in the way that the other VR headsets haven't really. There's the occasional game, but I would love to see like proper support within Japanese RPGs. I would wee myself, no bottle, just like wee with excitement. If I could play like a Japanese tactics game or a turn-based game, like a full-on proper story-based one in virtual reality, because I really like Demio as a game. Is in my PlayStation VR 2 video is one that I recommend. I like Demio, but really it's like I don't know, it's just exposing an itch for a proper tactics game. Demio is like a Dungeons and Dragons experience where you move your people around the board and all of that stuff, but it just proves how well that would work. A proper tactics full-on game, how well it would work in VR. I got dragged into a conversation on Twitter about whether Gears of War should exist in virtual reality, whether it would be good, and I was like, hell yes, even Gears Tactics would be brilliant in virtual reality, because Demio works in virtual reality, and if you get a bigger, bolder, more fleshed out tactics game, of course it's going to work. It'll be so good. A lot of people drastically underestimate like the kinds of games that work well in VR. Metro Exodus sequel. You can just say a Metro sequel if you want. There's a 4th Metro game coming out. I have no thoughts on that. I've actually never really played any of the Metro games. I played Arctica, which is a Metro adjacent game from the same studio. Actually, I've downloaded Arctica the other day so that I can play it again. But Arctica is, of course, a virtual reality game, which is why you've never heard of it. Metro 1, 2 and Exodus Like, I just haven't. Taj, I'm not being horrible to you. So you're obviously a fan of Metro Exodus from what you're saying then. So has this just been announced? There's another one coming out. I've only heard good things about Exodus. I think the first two Metro games, a lot of people did like them. They were key like benchmarking tool games on the PC for a while because they were quite demanding, quite high end in their tech. But a lot of people did like them as games, and a lot of people didn't. They were quite distinct in their pacing and style compared to other first-person shooters. Whereas Exodus seems to have more universal acclaim, I think. Like, more people like Exodus, and it's supposed to be a big showcase for ray traced lighting and things like that as well. So play Exodus on my PC, if anything. Well, maybe I will. Luapnitsu, you 100% agree a VR tabletop Dungeons and Dragons could have fantastic scope. Demio ain't it though. No, Demio is good, but you definitely need people for it, and it definitely is on the simplistic side. So I'm still recommending that in the absence of a bigger, bolder tactics game, be it Dungeons and Dragons or be it something more Japanese. I'd very much like to see all manner of tactics games come across, to be honest. US store has 500 VR games. Wait a minute. The PlayStation Japan store has a bunch of VR games that are not in other stores, but also a lot of English language VR games did not make it to Japan. That's interesting. The US store has 500 and the Japanese one has 180. I don't know how big VR, like generally as a technology, I don't know how big VR is in Japan. I think Thrill Seeker, which is one of the bigger VR YouTubers, I'm not sure if he's released it yet, but was doing a big video on the virtual reality scene in Japan that I had good intentions to watch, but I don't know if it actually ever came out or not. PlayStation VR is not as well supported in Japan due to a lack of translation by small VR devs. Yeah, what I really want to see is the likes of Square Enix, and obviously Capcom are doing it with Resident Evil, but studios, actual Japanese ones making Japanese games, just embracing the technology a bit more would be a good thing. There are a couple of like quite Japanese games in VR, but they're very small scale at the moment. I'd like to see some big ones, because that would be cool. SK has 1 million VR games. Tony, do I want to know what you're talking about? John Rocks 44, welcome. The Japanese VR games could be too kinky for the West. No, if you go onto Steam and you look at VR, leave your adult filter on. Like, there's some mess in there. I'm not sure that, like, Sony in particular are quite restrictive in what kind of content you get on the PlayStation, so I think it'll be relatively safe. Oh, South Korea, Tony. South Korea has 1 million VR games. Good. Isla, I don't know what that means, but thank you for... I'm going to assume that means please like the video, because that is a good reminder. Anyway, what am I talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about? Space Denizen Arctica looks good, but is teleport only. Yes, that is a shame. So Arctica was it's made by 4A, so it's made by the studio that did the Metro games, but it was an Oculus sponsored game. So back in the days when Oculus was still very much funding and developing good PC VR games, Arctica was one of them, and it's visually very nice. It's set in as far as I know, it's set in the Metro universe. It's pretty jump scary, but it is all teleport movement, so it's no good for my treadmill. But I downloaded it anyway so that I could play it in the near future. I downloaded it yesterday, I think, because I have a nice PC VR headset. It doesn't have a wire. It's very handy to be able to use and play, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to play some things. I even downloaded Asgard's Wrath, which is like 130 gigabytes to just sit on my hard drive. Madness. But there are some good PC VR games. What a shame that Meta are weird now. Meta were always weird, but what a shame that Meta have cut off the good parts of Oculus in a lot of ways. Isn't Exodus Unreal Engine? I'm not sure, Space Denizen. So if the Metro games are on the Unreal Engine, then we'll be able to play all of them in VR in the near future, is, I assume, what you're leading to with that. But I don't know. I thought the first two Metro games were their own bespoke engine, so I'm not sure about Exodus. Having not played it, I've not seen, but... So... should we do the questions? Right, gorgeous people, Darge is going to bed. I'm going to listen to the whole thing back tomorrow in the traffic. Listen to it really loud so that they can also like and subscribe to the video. Tony does that. He goes around random shops and I willingly say terribly rude things to the people around him when he sticks it on speaker. It's 4A. Yes, it is 4A. Peace be with you too, Dodge. So, let's do the questions. Questions, compliments, riddles, and memes go here. Read at the end of the show. I'm ready to read them. Yeah. First question, please. It is not too late to add more questions to the list if you want to. I don't know if there are many. So, Tony says, I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water but no fish. What am I? Oh no. I can't do riddles. I can't think on the spot. So, it's not going to happen. That's a question for chat. That's not one for me. I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. It's a map. I have water but no fish. What am I? Is it a map? Painful discourse. Didn't you get the points for the background already? Yes, the OST for today is Legend of Dragoon, a game that I have never played. I got the riddle. I'm the best. Tony has not got any mountains or cities. So yes, Legend of Dragoon is the OST, clearly inspired by the fact that it's coming to PlayStation Plus this month. I will be playing it soon. I can't promise that I'll play it that soon because there are a lot of games to play and all the VR stuff's going on at the moment. But Legend of Dragoon will happen this year. I'm very excited. Oh, what am I? I see, Patrick, I see. Well, I'm still taking my answer. Peter has put a smiley face. Peter, what do I do with the smiley face? I appreciate that. That's a nice message. Everybody should do more smiley faces. Painful discourse, 2 out of 2. Yeah, if you had been the one to remind me of Top Chat, you would have claimed all of the points. Okay, should streamers who mispronounce game titles be sent to the gulag? You hated it for months when they all said Plague's Tale was actually a Plague Tale. Halo Infinity, anyone? I like the I like it when streamers mispronounce things, especially when it's like, this isn't strictly true. Like the examples that you've given were great and be a little bit annoying actually, but I liked the Fortnite Dragon Ball Kamehaha. Gildan with the Kamehaha. You don't have a fucking clue what you've paid for. That's all good fun. And plus, I'm sure, like, I mispronounce things all the time, so I don't want to banish other streamers for doing what I do. Poison to your ears. Yes, but quite funny. I'm sure I told you this before. I'm sure I told you that before. Next question. See, what really normally gets me KY on the pronunciation is things that have like American and English versions of the same word. So if you're playing Wulong, Fallen Dynasty for me, Dynasty for some, and sometimes I forget which one's which, but so yeah, I don't want to banish anyone for pronunciation. Right. Oh, Tony. No, this is Luat Nitsua. This is a different riddle. I am an odd number. Take away a letter and I become an even. What number am I? 11. Yes, I'm the best at riddles. Okay. Shout out Kratos. It might be easy, but I still got it right. Die nasty. I love retracting things. What's happening? I don't understand. Unretract messages. Nothing too taxing as it's 10:30. Yes, and like I don't want taxing things while I'm live. I'll just melt on the spot. So I appreciate you giving me nice easy riddles that I could get right. Animal Crossing gets called Prison Island. That's the correct name, I thought, Tony. But then I did learn it from you. I look, what's broken? It keeps saying that you're retracting messages. 7? Oh, bollocks. I didn't really think that through, did I? Look, it's difficult. I just saw some of the letters and shouted something. This is the worst day ever. No more riddles. Have I tried the Hogwarts VR mod? No, Prey Dogs mod is not widely available yet. And I don't have Hogwarts. Yeah. Yeah. Original message. Oh, I see. So there's a funny YouTube bug, Peter. It works in comments as well sometimes, where if you end a sentence with a single emoji, it just strips the comment away and leaves a goofy smiley face. So I still appreciate the goofy smiley face. Which much missed musical artist used these words? My middle is a riddle. I have no idea. I've never known a single musical artist. To be honest, I'm distraught about the 7 when it was so obviously right in front of my face and I just yelled something stupid. So riddles are banned. If that even counts as a riddle. It's not really, is it? It's more of a trivia question. Stop with the square brackets. You're hurting me. Next question. And other people are 11 is basically 7. Some of the letters were there and it's difficult. I cheered so much as well. What a fool I am. Can we delete this stream? Yes, we can. Which much missed musical artist? Has anybody got the answer in chat? I do not, and I'm not going to guess. Unattractive messages. Unattractive massages. Don't know about that. Not a fan of the massage. I'm going to take that to mean sports massages that get right deep into bruised scar tissue. And no, I'm not a fan. Probably need some of those. Not going to get them. Is that it? Have I got through the questions? I need to go and cry about 11. Ian Jury, never heard of. That's isn't that like the ex-Crystal Palace manager? You get over it. Peter Morland, I'm really bad at knowing any famous names though. So like past, present or future. It's not necessarily because you're old. I know very, very few celebrity names. It's just not a scene that I follow. So Toyota CEO passed away. You hope Toyota doesn't go downhill. This is a Tony thing, so I don't know if I'm supposed to take it at face value or if there's some kind of joke. Like, do Toyotas have brake issues or something? The handbrake's not so good. I will not, John Rocks. I will not. I'm really good at rhythm games, but... Oh. Patrick, you're having a vacation? Unless the road is down here. Well. Look, I will be careful. Thank you for the advice. Have I played Grand Theft Auto? And will I if I haven't? It's a pretty short game. It's another game that could benefit from the massive mods they have on PC that could be brought to consoles. Grand Theft Auto is a pretty short game. That's not even true, Punty. So Grand Theft Auto as a series, no, I've never got anywhere with it. I've played them plenty. I've never played 1 and 2. I played Grand Theft Auto 3, but I never got anywhere with it because on Grand Theft Auto 3 and probably 4, if you go on a chaotic rampage, if you embrace chaos, as I always do in every game, you invariably lose like your progress. So I'd play Grand Theft Auto, I'd collect some good stuff, I'd be having fun, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna run an ambulance through that school or whatever, like you do in video games and not real life. And I'd do all of that, and I'd build up the crime meter, and I'd get killed or arrested, and it takes away your stuff. So then you turn the PlayStation off, or whatever you're playing on, but it was a PlayStation 1 for me. You turn it off so that you don't have that progress like saved, and then you start again. So John Roggs, I know, I figured that you were giving me the words to an Ian Dury and the Blockhead song. It made a lot of sense. Punty, I'll get up to Grand Theft Auto 5 at the end of my story. So that was Grand Theft Auto 3, including like San Andreas and whatever else they had. I'd always approach those games in the same way. I'd start off playing them properly. I'd do a few missions on there, and then like I'd be too enticed to embrace chaos and just destroy things. And I'd get stuck in a loop of never getting anywhere on those games until they turned it off. And the one that fixed it for me, the Grand Theft Auto game that fixed my Grand Theft Auto problem, was Saints Row. The first Saints Row was like a massive Grand Theft Auto ripoff in every way. A little bit more vulgar, but had better gunplay and a better save system. Like, it was less punitive when you went through chaos and got arrested or killed. So I'd typically, on that game, I'd progress the story a little bit. I'd go all chaotic. I'd die or get arrested. But some of my progress would remain, so I would still save it and I would continue, and I finished Saints Row, which I had never done on Grand Theft Auto 3. Grand Theft Auto 4 I played a little bit, but the same kind of problem, I didn't really get anywhere with it. And Grand Theft Auto 5, I own it twice and I've never played it, because I had trouble linking the Rockstar account to my Steam account. It's just really stubbornly insisting that I've already registered a different Rockstar account and it won't let me play. So maybe I'll play it one day, but I haven't yet. Grand Theft Auto 5 is on my list of things I have not. Like, of the big famous games that everyone's played, I haven't, but I have bought it twice, so I have contributed to the sales numbers. Punty, you really enjoyed Saints Row 2, 3 and 4. You never finished 1 because it was so bad. 1 wasn't bad. 1 was bad on consoles where there were some fairly significant performance issues. It had a lot of screen tearing. Painful Discourse goes for authenticity and steals real cars. Fair enough. I never played 2. 3 was good and 4 was bad. 3 was like pretty entertaining. 4 embraced superhero powers and it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either. It's so easy to steal cars nowadays. Is it now? Try Grand Theft Auto 5 if you think it was really good. Yeah, obviously it came out again on the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, didn't it? So I could try it on those consoles. I don't think they ever did the re-release on PC to let you have the ray tracing stuff with decent performance. So it might be that I'd have to try it on console. Maybe I will at some point, but it's on the list of like games that are on the backlog, but I know they're too long to realistically have a go at and still play anything else. So we'll see if I ever get to that. It's definitely not as high on my list as Legend of Dragoon. I'll still moan about the fact that it controls like shit. Yes, this is likely. This is a likely complaint. But, like, in a jovial way, right? Like, I don't complain like those people that are annoying. Everyone likes it when I complain. All you need is a laptop, antenna, and a program to copy the signal. What are you doing, Tony? Oh, that's how you're stealing cars. You're downloading them, weirdo. For sure, get the re-release. The graphics and ray tracing is nice and doesn't hurt your eyes like the old release. But the new release, the ray tracing mode, I'm assuming is going to be a 30 frames per second. Blah. So I'd have to play it in a performance mode, assuming that it's got one. God, I hate the whole performance. The world of performance modes and quality modes is just bleh. That newish Sonic game in VR would be good. Sonic Frontiers. I've not played it. I'm not convinced that it will be good in VR, but it will be better than it is in Pancake because all of the games are better in VR, as we all agree. Grand Theft Auto 5 is all about riding a BMX in first person around the map. So there was a Grand Theft Auto 5 virtual reality mod for a long time, but Rockstar cease and desisted it out of existence, so you can't actually do that anymore, really. You take issue with my complaint about Gran Turismo 7. Progression was not good, but gameplay, you can't understand why people think Forza is superior. So Gran Turismo 7's gameplay, I was quite underwhelmed. I've only played it on a controller, so I've not steering wheeled it yet. I will do when I'm playing it in VR. I will get my steering wheel working there. But I didn't find it particularly enthralling. I get people's respect for like the online mode and the authenticity of like the competitive rule set and things like that. That's all good. But can I run fast enough on my treadmill? What, for Gran Turismo 7? Definitely not. Oh, for Sonic. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. No, I'm about as fast as Sonic, I think, in real life. So yeah, that should work. Gran Turismo 7, the cars feel weirdly anchored. Like, if you handbrake a car in Gran Turismo 7, it seems to pivot from the center in a way that just didn't feel right. And it could just be that I drove the wrong cars. But it wasn't quite... Like, it was weird. And obviously the collisions and things in Gran Turismo 7 are just... They're not well done compared to things like Forza. I will say on Forza, though, don't take my comparison entirely as I'm not saying Forza 7 is better than Gran Turismo 7 because I've never played Forza Motorsport 7. I literally only own Forza Motorsport 7 from the point that I owned Gran Turismo 7. I had never played it. I had no desire to because it came out after my period of time where I'd got into virtual reality. And as soon as I'd played, like, Project Cars 2 was the first VR racing game that I played. Project Cars 2 and Dirt 1. Dirt Rally 1. I played those in VR and I never wanted to play a pancake racing game again after that point. So I did not buy Forza Motorsport 7 until I bought Gran Turismo 7 just for the sake of comparisons because I was thinking maybe I'll make a video of this. And my only real take for like the difference between them was the presentation of 7 was far better than Gran Turismo 7. Like, the way that it started with a visual spectacle and an entertaining, like, high energy track was in stark contrast to Gran Turismo 7 that started with an 8-minute pretentious nonsense video and cheesy grin profile pictures in the cafeteria trying to dictate what you do in your racing career. Gran Turismo 7 is sterile as fuck. Gran Turismo 7 on the wheel is honestly much better than Forza. So I've always heard that the wheel support in Forza is quite bad. And in Gran Turismo 7, it's quite good, and I can believe that. Like I said, I didn't play Forza 7. I got my racing setup. I've only ever used it on the PC. I've never used it on the Xbox. I got the Xbox wheel because I thought there would be a future where I played Forza with the racing wheel in virtual reality. That future never panned out. So I've only ever used my steering wheel on the PC, on Project Cars, on things like that. Gran Turismo 7. Pretentious and sterile is my main criticism for it. I can't imagine if you play that game for the first time in virtual reality and it makes you watch that 8-minute video, that'll be a horrible experience. So I hope that it doesn't make you do that. But I fully do expect that playing it in virtual reality with a steering wheel will be a completely different experience to playing it on a TV, and it will transform it from a game I don't really like to a game that I really do like. And the racing games on PC, you can get really good racing experiences on the PC, but all of them do come with a little jank in terms of getting into the experience. So Project Cars 3 wasn't too bad, but you still have to, you're essentially navigating a menu intended for desktop in a virtual reality headset just to get into the game, and it's got like loading times and things that are a bit of a pain in the butt. It's really good when you get driving, but it takes a bit to get there. I actually think Gran Turismo 7 will probably replace those for me as my go-to racing game, unless it's like underwhelming when it comes to actually playing it, unless it's visually like not pleasant in the headset. But that's not my expectation. I think it'll be good. You love Dirt Rally in VR. You're very excited for Gran Turismo 7. Yeah, Dirt Rally was brilliant in VR. I played Dirt Rally 2 in VR maybe yesterday, maybe the day before. It's also brilliant. That's all I have to say on that. Racing games in VR, it's just so good. So good. Which wheel am I going to go for? So Joe, I've not got a really fancy wheel. I've got the Logitech G920, which is their Xbox and PC version. So they did, I think it's the G23 and the G920 are basically the same wheel, but one for the PlayStation side and one for the Xbox side. And I bought the Xbox one thinking that Xbox were going to support VR and I was going to play Forza. and I have big regrets about it. But I mentioned these regrets last week or the week before, and somebody very helpfully chimed in the comments. I'm sorry, heroic person that said this, but somebody chimed in the comments to say there's an adapter that lets you use that wheel on the PlayStation. So I don't need to replace my steering wheel. I can use my G920 via an adapter on the PlayStation. And that is my cheapest route to steering wheel on the PlayStation. So I'm hoping compatibility is perfect and I don't need to dick around with that kind of thing. But if it is, then that is what I'll be using to begin with. Snowing outside. I want it to snow outside. No, I don't. To be fair, if it just snows in Gran Turismo, that'll be enough. Does Gran Turismo have snow? I didn't play it far enough to find any. Snow was really nice in Project Cars 2. That had some levels on it where you're driving around trucks in the snow and it was like cool as fuck. I like racing in VR. Never heard of it. If you have any need for such a thing, in fact, I'm going to look right now because I want to give this person due credit. They have saved the day for me by pointing this out. So that's my current stream. Where's last week's? Was it in the comments last week? No, it wasn't in the comments last week. Was it the week before? Wow, what a beautiful YouTube channel. So it is Lou's Reviews pointed out, it's called the Drive Hub Adapter, and you can use it for your steering wheel on Xbox, PC and PlayStation. So it's still G29. Close enough. That makes sense. G29 or G920, very similar numbers in play. Same steering wheel, different platforms. You're on the T150, fancy. That's a higher tier option. I did look at that a while back, actually. No PS button. Well, I'm just going to have to make do without that. As long as I've got pedals and steering wheel and little gear flaps. I have the gear stick as well, but it's a bit flimsy, so I don't have a handbrake, which makes Dirt Rally suboptimal. But yes, that is what wheel I'll be using. I think that's all the questions got through. I think that's all the topics got through. Next week, hopefully, and PlayStation haven't taken my money yet, so I'm feeling a little shaken on that. I'm not confident that I'm actually going to get it on Wednesday, because I've seen a lot of other people being charged for their PlayStation VR 2 headset over the last couple of days. I haven't been charged. I pre-ordered it very early. I'm optimistic that I'll get it on Wednesday, in which case on next Thursday show, I'll be able to tell you exactly how good, bad or indifferent I feel about that one. There will also be other topics for the pancake lovers amongst us. And, you know how these shows run, so there'll be more of them. Didn't I decide earlier that this was the last one ever because I had my round of applause? No, I want more applause. There's going to be more. There's going to be a few more Thursdays while I rake in the applause and stuff like that. Tony. It is Pancake Day on Tuesday. Maybe I should do something special on Tuesday to celebrate Pancake Day. That's a good idea, Aloy. I should do something. Maybe on Tuesday I'll stream a pancake game instead of a VR game. Celebrate Pancake Day properly. With some pancake gaming. Joe, you are welcome. Like I say, it was Lou's Reviews. He stepped in to the rescue. It is a thing that I need. I don't know if I'll have it in time for Wednesday because I don't know, these are all like big expenses. Hello, happening to you too. Everybody here, have a good evening, great weekend. Enjoy loads and loads of games. Arm yourselves with a whole load of games for the week so that at the start of next week's show you can all tell me all about them, because this is like, you lot telling me what games are good is more valuable to me than anything that IGN have ever done. So do it. Play games. Tell me about them. And I will see you on Go Live or on some streams or on some videos or here next week. Once again, thank you everyone for coming along. If you're watching afterwards, say something in the comments. Smash the like button really, really hard. And then tell me how upset you are that you broke your phone, tablet, PC, whatever device you're using. And I will see you all in the near future. I was going to do the thing. I'm not going to do it. I was given a closeout expression for the stream, and I said maybe I can deliver it with adequate charisma and energy to pull it off, but I don't have that right now. So next week maybe I'll finish the stream with the line that has been set. For now, I'm just going to say thanks everyone.
on daily.